Over the years, several NFL teams have had the luxurious problem of dealing with quarterback controversy. Think of the San Francisco 49ers with Joe Montana and Steve Young, or the San Diego Chargers with Drew Brees and Phillip Rivers, or Tom Brady and Drew Bledsoe at the New England Patriots. However, not all coaches can be so lucky. So today, we're going to take a look at the 10 absolute worst NFL quarterback competitions of all time. 2001 Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys knew that things would be worse when Troy Aikman opted to retire after the 2000 season, but it wasn't supposed to be this bad. Concussions and serious back issues prompted Aikman to announce his retirement at the very young age of 34. Losing a three-time Super Bowl champion was always going to be tough to stomach sentimentally, but it was even worse on the field. Rookie second-rounder Quincy Carter made 8 starts, but he completed only 51.1% of his pass attempts for 1,072 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 7 picks. Dallas then took a chance on all-time draft bust Ryan Leaf, whom the San Diego Chargers cut after 2 very painful seasons. But he obviously wasn't able to revive his career in Big D, losing all 3 starts while tossing 1 touchdown against 3 picks. Sophomore Anthony Wright also made 3 starts for Dave Campo's team. Wright completed less than half his pass attempts for 5 touchdowns and just as many interceptions. A desperate Campo even gave 4th stringer Clint Sterner a chance, but he was no better in his 2 starts. These 4 Cowboys passers combined for a 50.8 completion percentage, 14 touchdowns, and 20 picks, resulting in a horrible quarterback rating of 59.9. 2006 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Good thing John Gruden's Bucs still had Derek Brooks and Rondé Barber on defense, plus 1,000-yard receiver Joey Galloway on offense. Otherwise, this could have been one of the worst teams in league history. Chris Sims, son of CBS announcer and New York Giants Super Bowl MVP Phil Sims, opened the season as the starter after leading Tampa to the postseason the year before. Now, sadly, he suffered a life-threatening ruptured spleen that cut his season short. The Bucs were basically done without Sims. Rookie 6th-round pick Bruce Gradkowski was the next man up, losing 3 of 11 games while tossing 9 touchdowns and an identical number of picks. Longtime San Francisco 49ers backup Tim Rattay appeared in 4 games, tossing 4 touchdowns and 4 INTs. In all, Tampa's QBs combined for an embarrassing 55.3 completion percentage, only 2,994 passing yards, and 14 touchdowns against 18 picks. It's actually a miracle that they finished 4-12 that year. 1997 Philadelphia Eagles. It's honestly crazy that then head coach Ray Rhodes got 6 wins and 1 tie out of the squad. When we name you their quarterbacks, the first word that should come to your mind is who?
Wait a minute! Who are you?
The Eagles had Ty Detmer, Bobby Hoying, and Rodney Peete all on the roster. Each of them started at least 3 games. Detmer led the way with 7 starts. Those 3 guys teamed up for a 56.2 completion percentage, 4,009 passing yards, and 22 touchdowns against 16 interceptions. Fortunately, the Eagles' offense consisted of star running back Ricky Watters and Pro Bowl wideout Irving Fryer, so that made their jobs a lot easier. Neither Detmer, Hoying, or Peete earned a Pro Bowl selection in their careers. Detmer was the only one to play all 16 games in a season, and he did that once. Seriously, 97 may have been the best single-season performance of Rhodes' coaching career. 2017 New York Jets. The Jets moved on from Ryan Fitzpatrick after a disastrous 2016 season. Career journeyman Josh McCown beat out sophomore Christian Hackenberg and 3rd stringer Bryce Petty for the starting job. Now, McCown was far less turnover prone than Fitzmagic, and he actually had a respectable 18 touchdowns against 9 picks. But a broken hand unfortunately ended his season quickly. Still, McCown was never really the guy you'd want to lean on to win games. He was a short-term guy, but never anything great. The Jets finished out the year with Petty, who appeared in 4 games and compiled a gross 55.1 quarterback rating. Hackenberg never wound up playing a single NFL snap, and Petty was out of the league by 2018. 2021 Carolina Panthers. The Panthers could have taken a signal caller in the stacked 2021 QB draft class. Instead, they took a chance on former Jets starter Sam Darnold. Darnold was the number 3 pick of the 2018 draft, but the dysfunctional Jets ruined him with the Adam Gase hiring and terrible roster moves. Obviously, it made sense to take a chance on the highly touted former USC gunslinger. Darnold won his first 3 starts, but imploded quickly, completing only 59.9% of his pass attempts on the year for 9 touchdowns, 13 picks, and an inexcusable 9 fumbles. A fractured scapula sidelined Darnold midseason. With PJ Walker as his backup, Carolina got so desperate that they wound up bringing back old friend Cam Newton. But the 2015 league MVP proved to be a shell of his former self, losing all 5 starts while failing to give the offense any real spark. Carolina's 3 quarterbacks finished the year with 14 touchdown passes against 21 picks. They averaged a mere 210.2 passing yards per game and combined for a laughable quarterback rating of 68.5. In 2022, the Panthers drafted Matt Corral in round 3 before trading for former Cleveland Browns starter Baker Mayfield. Clearly, they just could not go another year with that historically bad quarterback room. 2013 Buffalo Bills. The Bills cut Ryan Fitzpatrick following a second straight collapse in the second half of the season. The Bills reached big time for Florida State product E.J. Manuel in the first round with the number 16 pick. Undrafted rookie Jeff Tuel was added to the final roster, and veteran backup Thad Lewis was acquired via trade by the Detroit Lions just weeks before the start of the season. Anyway, it really didn't matter who started at QB, the Bills were mediocre. They owed some big thank yous to the prolific rushing duo of Fred Jackson and CJ Spiller, who helped make up for the non-existent passing game. So how bad was it? Well, Buffalo's quarterbacks combined for 16 touchdown passes. Yeah, that is it. All 3 QBs averaged under 200 passing yards per game. They all had a completion percentage well below 60, and yet this team still finished with a 6-10 record. Could you imagine if they had just kept Fitz? 2012 Jacksonville Jaguars. Fun fact, did you know the 2012 Jaguars had 2 Super Bowl winning QBs on their roster? Unfortunately, it's not as luxurious as it sounds. Blaine Gabbert won a ring as Tom Brady's backup for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2020. A year earlier, Chad Henne won a ring as Patrick Mahomes' understudy with the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's be blunt here though, the Jaguars have had a lot of terrible quarterback rooms over the past decade and a half. But man, it is hard to think of a worse group than their 2012 QB room. Jacksonville handed the starting keys to 2011 first-rounder Blaine Gabbert, who was infamously taken 1 spot before J.J. Watt at number 10 overall. They signed LaRon Robinson and drafted prize prospect Justin Blackmon 5th overall to fix up the supporting cast for Gabbert, but it didn't help. Gabbert wasn't much better as a sophomore. He lost 9 of 10 starts. Henne, the former Miami Dolphins starter, lost 5 of 6 starts. Together, he and Gabbert combined for a 56.0 completion percentage, 20 touchdowns, and 17 picks. The Jaguars' QB room wouldn't get any better until Trevor Lawrence arrived in 2021. 1976 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The 76 Bucs are widely regarded as one of the absolute worst teams in NFL history. At the very least, the late John McKay, Tampa's head coach at the time, provided plenty of epic sound bites during his first season there.
Well, we didn't block it well, so we made up for it by not tackling.
It's hardly surprising that they finished 0-14, becoming the first team in the Super Bowl era to lose all their games. Steve Spurrier, yeah, that Steve Spurrier, made 12 starts and appeared in all 14 games. He had 7 touchdowns against 12 picks. Parnell Dickinson and Terry Hanratty each made 1 start, which did not amount to anything. Even Larry Lawrence, who lasted 3 seasons in the NFL, completed 0 of his 5 pass attempts. So anyway, the QBs of this historically awful squad combined for a sad 48.1 completion percentage, 9 touchdowns, 20 picks, and a very sad 49.4 QB rating. 2017 Cleveland Browns. Speaking of winless teams, these 2017 Cleveland Browns were arguably even worse than the 1976 Bucs. Tampa Bay was at least an expansion team that was still finding their footing at the NFL level. But boy, these Browns were another level of awfulness. They joined the 2008 Detroit Lions as the only clubs to go 0-16 in a season. When we tell you the names of Cleveland's quarterbacks, you'll quickly understand why. The Browns used rookie second-rounder Deshaun Kaiser as the primary starter. He got next to nothing going, tossing 11 touchdowns and an NFL-leading 22 interceptions. He finished with less than 200 passing yards in 8 of his 15 outings. Can't blame the Browns for relying so much on Kaiser, though, after you hear who their other options were. Let's start with Kevin Hogan. Do you remember him? Probably not, seeing as he only had 14 career completions and no touchdowns heading into that season. And then there was Cody Kessler, who was Cleveland's starter starter the previous year, and he wasn't much better than Kaiser. Maybe the Browns should have just kept Brock Osweiler on the roster rather than cut him before week 1. Osweiler, you may recall, was acquired via trade with the Houston Texans in a cap-dumping move. He was probably good enough to prevent the Browns from suffering a winless season, but hey, to each their own. 1992 New England Patriots. You kids won't know this, but the Patriots were once an NFL laughingstock.
Why are you?
No, wait, I'm not finished holding my sides.
So much so that the franchise nearly relocated to Hartford before Robert Kraft saved the day. 1992 was the last truly horrible year for the Patriots before they slowly turned a corner. But trust us, that 92 group was about as unwatchable as it gets. They used 4 different starting quarterbacks. Hugh Millen started 7 games, Scott Zolak made 4 starts, Tom Hodson had 3, and 2 for Jeff Carlson. When you have 4 different QBs start multiple games, well, that's not a good sign. So here's the deal. None of those quarterbacks threw more touchdowns than interceptions, though Hodson had 2 apiece. The Patriots were shut out not once, not twice, but 3 times that year. New England only had 4 games with multiple touchdown passes as a team. They failed to throw even a single touchdown pass in 8 of those games. The 1992 group combined for 13 touchdown passes against 19 picks, and they had a quarterback rating of 63.2. The quarterbacks were also sacked 65 times over 16 games. On the bright side, the Patriots were so bad that they earned the first overall pick and took future Pro Bowler Drew Bledsoe. And Hall of Fame head coach Bill Parcells was brought in as the new head coach. Together, these two brought relevance back to New England, leading the team to a Super Bowl 31 appearance. But which NFL team do you think had the worst quarterback competition of all time? Join us in the comments section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.